Hello and welcome to Hotgates Gaming for what is a special and very different little bit of a vlog. Hopefully giving you guys out there who are supporting this channel, watching the channel, subscribing, commenting, and maybe even you guys who are contributing to this channel through the Patreon page, give you a little bit of an insight about how it all works in terms of making the content itself. Now I'm not doing a video blog here of actually meeting up with people and filming it, although if you have ever been in a battle report you kind of know how it goes. So for example, a battle that might normally take, or a match report that might normally take an hour to an hour and a half, usually that is doubled in time. It's quite time intensive, and a big part of that is because you discuss with your opponent, you're trying to get down and get the shots, you're trying to communicate with each other clearly so that the commentary is right, and all of these little things sort of contribute together to make a little bit of a longer experience when it comes to filming battle reports. But what I want this vlog to be about is actually showing you what goes on behind the scenes here on the actual laptop itself. Right through to what program software that I use, and how I actually put together the magic that is a Wargaming Battle Report, so you guys can see a little bit more into it. Now I'll have to turn off camera off now before I go to the next stage, because what I will be doing is taking the memory card out of this thing here and I will be putting it into my Mac. So remember, I'm a Mac user. for better or for worse in some situations, but the program that I do use to edit the videos is called Final Cut Pro, which is a pretty neat bit of kit. For those of you that don't have any kind of professional video editing software, then and you are a Mac user, I did have iMovie before this, which was very good. Not as good as this, I have to say, but it was a pretty high standard. So like I say, I'm going to take the memory card out now, I'm going to pop it in here, and I'm going to start importing the clips across, and this normally takes about 10-15 minutes. Once I've done that, I will take the memory card, pop it back in here, and show you the next phase of video editing, Wargaming Battle Reports. So welcome to Final Cut Pro, and this is the editing software that I use. So I'm going to do my best to try and show you how this works and how we put things together when filming one of these battle reports and trying to edit it. Okay, so the first thing that we do is we come in here and we would click Import Media, and of course I've already done that from the memory card, and I would select this here. It takes about 5 minutes or so just to do that. Normally we put that into an event folder, and at the moment, as you can see, the event folder up there is called Balkoth, so that should give you a little bit of an idea of maybe the battle report that we are going to be filming. That we are going to be editing, sorry. So once we have imported that, so if I just come out of that, everything goes into this area now, and this is called a this isn't a project, this is called import to folder. So this is just a folder, but what we do need to do is we need to create a project for this. Okay, so we're going to go new project, and this is an Adventures in Ardor bat wrap. So I'm just going to pop here Hobbit SPG Battle Report, and it is this is going to be I'm not going to give away any spoilers for this. Let's just put Hobbit SPG Battle Report for now and just sort of show you the mechanics, just in case this comes out before. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is I need to add all of the clips that we have into the project itself. So I will select one, and I'll come up here and I will go to select all, and now that I know that all of them are selected, I will click and I will drag them down and put them into this magic area down there. And this is where the magic happens, down this bit here. So this is where you clip ends and put music in and put all of the effects and stuff that you might actually put in. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do, or one of the first tasks of making video content for YouTube, is I'm going to start at the very beginning. Very good place to start. So you will have to excuse, there will be sound on here. So there we are, that's us stepping up, and you can see that I've just stopped things down. I just used the space bar to do that, and that's because I can tell that I am about to speak. So knowing that I'm about to speak, I need to clip the front, otherwise you're just going to get lots and lots of dead space in there. So we just trim start there, and as you can see, that immediately trimmed the start of this. Now if I didn't do this next bit, the effect, this is what will happen. You literally just
welcome Hotgates gamers to another Hobbit SPG Battle Report.
There we go. Okay, so that's how it would start, but we want things to fade in nicely. So over here, you've got several little things that you can do. So we can create effects, we can add pictures, or that allows you to sort of browse your photos on your computer. There's music that we can add on, and there are transitions here. So this is the bit that we want for adding transitions, but we also have adding text, which is in there. There's some sort of generators which give you some default settings, and there's also some default themes there, but this is what we need. And the one that I like to use to transition between clips most of the time, unless you're making some kind of sketch, is this, the cross dissolve. So I'm just going to click and I'm going to drag that to the start, and what that will do, it will give us a soft intro to start off with, like so. Welcome Hotgates gamers to... There you go. Okay, so that's the first part there, and very much a big part of the editing of a battle report or for a video for YouTube is actually going and finding each little bit of transition that you want to do and doing that. So to give you an example here, we have got the end of the intro, which is going to be around here, and we've also got the start of the next clip. So if I click spacebar to see what happens, we need to see where the end of this clip needs to be trimmed and when the start of the next clip needs to be trimmed. We'll roll for the scenario and we'll get all that good to go for you right now. So you can see, there we go. So down here, that's what it would look like with no editing at all. So of course we need to edit that. We'll get all that good to go for you right now. So we give that a little pause, but before I move, because we don't want it to look like I'm moving part way through, we need to trim the end of that. There we go. And we also need to trim a little bit into the beginning of this. Now I don't want to create the trim too much, because what will happen is I will cut into the talking time. So I'm just going to trim the start there, and then I'm going to take this cross dissolve and I'm going to pull it over, and you can see in that sense, because I've not got the transition too close, that should keep the sound on for you right now. So down here we have our Wayne. There we go. And effectively through the whole clip, so in this particular battle report, this Hobbit SPG Battle Report, there is 43, currently about 44 minutes worth of footage. And that is a big job, is going through and clipping and trimming the ends. In fact, it's probably one of the biggest parts. Okay, now another thing that we need to do, now that we're trying to be a little bit more professional with Hotgates Gaming, is we have to add our intros and the like. So let's show you how to do that. So first of all, you'll see how I filmed this allows for a natural pause where I can add in the first intro, which is of course for a Hotgates Gaming video. Welcome Hotgates gamers to another Hobbit SPG Battle Report. So you can see there, oh, that's a lovely shot of me looking all gorgeous. There we go. So that's the point there, isn't it? That's the point that we want to do. So what we're going to do is I'm going to come up here and go to the trim button, and I'm going to click blade, and what that's going to do is actually just cut that, or create a separation between the two clips. So then what we need to do is I need to go and get my intro. Now intros, which you'll see the difference because I'm going to have to put both in, but intros which you need to change regularly, you will actually save them as a project themselves in these folders, which I'm going to come to in a second. But ones like the Hotgates Gaming one, I can actually just transfer in the actual file itself. So if I just make that a bit of a smaller window, I should have, there we go, Hotgates Gaming opening sequence 2, because I've got 2 versions of it. And I'm just going to click and I'm going to drag that straight in there into that gap. So if you can see that in that bottom left hand corner of the screen. So now what happens is, in that bit there, Battle Report. There we go. And it goes straight into that, and we've got the intro, and we've also got where it comes out from, in this bit. You are here with your channel host, Hotgates Gaming James. There we go. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of an idea. Let's maximise that again, so you don't have Jane peering over the top of the screen there. That's my lovely wife. I was about to say fiance then, but things have moved on. That's my lovely wife there, when I proposed, for anybody who cares. Okay, so there we go. So you can also see there, one of the cool things about this is because of the way that the video has been made, the actual Hotgates Gaming opening sequence, it kind of blurs between the two clips naturally, but not as much as I would like. So let's just, now because I want this at both ends, I can hover the cross dissolve over the whole thing. So you keep an eye on the bottom left hand corner of the screen, remember, and if I let go of that, now you can see here there is not enough extra media beyond the clip edges to create a transition. So it does mean there's going to be a little bit of a blur, but we're going to create transition, and hopefully that won't cut off too much of the SPG Battle Report. There we go, so we get a little bit more of a seamless transition. And so let's see if we get the transition this end as well.
You are here with your channel host, Hotscape Gaming James.
Brilliant. Okay, so there you go. So that's a little bit of an example about how you can insert a full clip into things there. Okay, so as you can see, I'm about to introduce myself here, and I'm going to show you another little trick, which could be a pain if you had to do this individually each time, but I have found a little bit of a way of getting around that. So let's have a little look here.
Your channel host, Hotscape.
So that sounds about where I need to be. So you can see up here I've got some different projects here. There's hair, that's a video that Jane wants me to put together, which I haven't finished yet, which at some point she'll kick off on me about, but she needs to help me. And here you'll see that I have SFAQ. Now that's usually speak for an question, but that's because in here I have got lots and lots of projects. So you can see that I have Hotgates opening sequence, should I wish to change it. I have a correction project. Now this is if I have any if there are any mistakes in the battle report, I can now come to this and copy and paste it, and it means that I'm not having to find the font, find the exact lower thirds. I'm not having to reposition it. So basically it means that I can get some consistency in quality between battle reports. Okay, I also have the Adventures in Arda Trader right down there, and we've got lower thirds here. So this is the one that we want because this is where we introduce. So if I click into lower thirds, you can see there that this is where you've got the Hotgates Gaming bit there, and then you've also got the writing on this side. So what we need to do, we've opened that now, and I'm going to select this bit here. So this has been pre-made, and this is quite important. So what I've done to pre-make this, if I hover over, is I literally got the Hotgates Gaming logo and reduced the size down to that and made it slightly transparent. And there are also two lots of text which are blurred. So if I just play through that now, it gives you a little bit of a view of what people get to see, and you've got the different writing in there as well. So of course I'm not going to need the actual writing, but now that I've copied that, we're going to go back to Project Balkoth. I need to open up the project itself, Hobbit SPG Battle Report. So these things are called events, and then you have projects within the events. So Balkoth, Hair and SFAQ are events. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in here, and I'm going to copy and paste. Oh, I obviously didn't copy it properly before. Let's delete that. Let's go. Obviously got distracted. Lower thirds. Let's copy that. Command C. And then back over to Balkoth. Back over to the Hobbit SPG Battle Report. There we go. Give you a bit of an idea. And now hopefully if I put Control and V, there we go. So let's have a little bit of a look how this is coming on.
Gaming James, and we are bringing you another episode of
So it is Hotgates Gaming James still. However, who it is not episode 2 of Abattoir Away Days. This is actually episode 3 of Adventures in Arda, the Hobbit SPG version. Adventures in Arda. There we go. So if we go
Adventures in Arda. Now for those of you that know,
and this isn't Butchers versus Union, which is of course from Abattoir Away Days. This is in fact Northmen versus the Balkoth. So there we go. So you got a little bit of a clue there as to how this is going to, or what kind of battle report this. So the Northmen versus the Balkoth. And then down here, I'm going to write 350 point Hobbit SPG Battle Report. There we go. So sometimes with that lower thirds, I will introduce people. It depends on whether they come from a different podcast or a YouTube channel. But here we go. So this is what this should now look like. So if I expand the screen, this is all.
Gaming James, and we are bringing you another episode of Adventures in Arda. Now, for those of you that know me from my early days of YouTube, beside me now is someone.
There we go. Okay, so you can see that. So if I just click escape, we can come down to that now. So there we go. So that is how we put that in. It's very, very much the same for when we go on to the next part. Now, something which I haven't done, which I normally do, is when I select all of the clips, when I bring all the clips in, so I'm going to have to do that now. So select all, but what I will have to do, because I've selected all, is unselect these bits, otherwise they're going to be very loud. So let's just unselect this. No point having that selected, or that selected. I guess there is actually for that. Okay, what I also do need to do is have a little look at the audio. So naturally the audio will only come up to a certain point on this. If I go to audio analysis, I will always go to this and I will always increase the loudness just by default, which is increasing it by 40%, and it also adds a little bit of uniformity. Now if there's background noise, you can remove background noise. If there's a hum from anything, you can do that. The problem with reducing background noise through this is it does make the sound quite tinny. Okay, so that should increase it all, makes it a little bit louder.
Here, your channel host, Hotscape Gaming James, and we are bringing you another episode.
There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video ever so slightly here, because I need to delete some, just through filming this, I need to delete some footage off of the camera. I'm going to come back when I insert the next clip. So those careful observers will have noticed already that in the previous clip that you were just watching, that it is seamlessly blended into this clip, even though a good couple of minutes has passed while I've been deleting an episode of Abattoir Away Days from the camera itself. Okay, so let's have a little bit of a look here. So we need to go along, we need to find the bit where we're going to put in the rest. Now you can see here I jumped the gun a little bit and I put that divide in there, and what we need to do is we need to remove that because we are going to have to insert the trailer in there. Okay, so where will the trailer be found? Well, like I say, I've been keeping all of them in the Speak Friend and Question, and that's because we do a lot of Speak Friend and Question. As you can see in here, you can actually see some of the files that we used for the Adventures in Arda trailer. To give you a little bit of an example, here's one that wasn't used. There you go. So that's one of the shots that wasn't used for Adventures in Arda. And that's how it kind of worked. I picked and pulled clips from this. Some of them were kept and some of them weren't. I believe these ones weren't kept. And what I would have done is I would have picked bits out of these clips to become part of the Adventures in Arda trailer. So that's what I would have been doing. There's some good shots in there, it's just that I couldn't really fit it into the trailer themselves. And here's another one that didn't really get used. I used a different shot. So usually when you do something creative, you do need to pick out various shots and then pick and choose which ones that you actually want. But what I need is I need the actual Adventures in Arda trailer project. So we're going to double click on that. And now that we've double clicked on that, oh, we seem to be on Blade, just select. So Adventures in Arda. So what we need to do now is we need to select this whole thing, Control C, and we need to go back to the battle cost. Okay, so we go back to the project, we open it up, we find the point where we want to insert into, and I'm going to Control V and stick that in there. Okay, now it's important that all of this blends nicely, so let's have a little bit more. So what we need to do is we're going to have to zoom in there because it looks like there's a little bit of a gap, and we don't really want a gap, so we're going to delete that. And of course then we're going to cross dissolve, and we're going to create a nice seamless transition between the two. I'm going to zoom back out, and then that doesn't look so crazy. As you can see, this little red line here, that's the rendering. So Final Cut Pro renders as it goes, which I'm quite happy about. So let's have a little look here.
The scenario, and we'll get all that good to go for you right now.
So we've got the trailer, and of course there are going to be bits in this that we need to change. I do love this trailer, I really enjoyed putting it together. It was great fun. So it's a little bit jittery there, but it's not like that once it has rendered, it's just because it is rendering as we speak. And this music isn't actually from Lord of the Rings. And if anybody can put in the comments below where the music is from. So there we go. So as you can see there, this is actually smaller than what we want. So what we need to do is I'm going to have to change the size of this. So to do that, so I've now selected the text part. and I've got this on select, and when I double click or come into it, you can see that on the right it says nothing to enhance. That's because we're currently on audio enhancements, and that's because we were checking because we increased the volume of everything earlier. Okay, so we're going to go up to text here, and you can see there that's everything there. So what we want to do is we want to increase the size of that, make that a little bit more huge. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click 250, and then I'm going to click enter. Boom. And that looks a lot better, doesn't it? Okay, and with that being at 250, so because that's something which I want for every single clip, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to change that in the original project for the Adventures in Arda intro. So let's change this one. Let's double that in size. Okay, so as you can see, that needs probably moving up just a touch. So if we go like that, okay, and of course this is episode number 3, I believe. Episode number 3. So let's just check that out.
So down here we have our Wayne Rider foes. These are the Easter.
Okay, so that's worked out quite nicely. That and as you can see, this bit here, this is the music part. This is the music part, and the music for Adventures in Arda is a little bit louder, and that's because it gives you that epic kind of cinematic feel. Okay, now we do actually then continue to use that soundtrack throughout. However, of course, it's not as loud. Now, I wouldn't normally do this at this point. What I would normally do is I would go through the video and I would trim and clip all of the ends. I would then go and then put the end credits at the end, exactly the same way as how we did before. And then I would put the music on. But just to give you a little bit of an example of how the music layering goes. I don't normally start it from that point. We'll start it from about here. So I'm going to go to the music bit here, and I've got a ton of different music in here. A lot of it are free downloads from Kevin Macleod, but not this one. This one is not that one either. It is this one. Okay, so I'm going to select that, drag that over. Those of you that have got the Zoom, you'll already know the answer to the trivia of what this is. And I'm going to drag that over like so. Now if I then come in...
These are the Easterlings, and Pete, you're going to talk us through what you have.
Yep, so we've got Camille the Easterling.
Of course, this...
Now the problem with that is that that is going to be too loud. So at this point what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the audio, and audio is here, and we're actually going to change the volume. So I'm going to click that, and we're going to go -15 and click enter. And again, what this allows us to do is it allows us to get a little bit of consistency between all of the videos. Now that I've got that at -15, I want this to play throughout. Sometimes I'll play different music throughout, but we want to get a bit of theme tunes for the pilot series that we've got. And then what I would do is I will go to the end of that clip,
the 5+,
and I'll continue to copy and paste all the way through until all are done. Okay, now whenever you add anything like this to a video, it needs to render. So rendering takes a little while depending on what you put in there. Usually the things that take the longest to render are when you do things like add effects to a clip. So for example, let's get a really small clip here. This one here.
Gamers to...
Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an effect to that, so I'm going to make it look kind of cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and click on this bit here, which is effects, and we might decide that we want that to look like aged film. And you can see that if I just scroll over, you can see what it will look like if I choose to have that in at the top, or I might choose to make it like 50s TV, or I don't know what that means, add noise. Aged paper. So there's all kinds of effects, lots of lighting effects, lots of different things you can do. For those of you that are wondering what, so for the, I don't think it's that one, but there's something similar to this which are used for the abattoir way days that gives it a kind of a red heat. Also one that we have used is the flashing, which you have seen for abattoir way days. You see that's quite bright, and if you select that over, these things tend to be the things which take the longest to render. But to give you a little bit of an idea, even just putting those bits of music on before, we're on 75% now. Now that's a lot quicker than other editing things I've had in the past, and usually you had to render and then you had to upload and export, and that's really the next phase. The next phase is is once you have a complete video and it's completely rendered, as you can see that is now rendering again now. It obviously hadn't finished rendering. What we would then do is we come up here and we will share the file. Okay, now I will share this as a master file. I'm not actually going to do this here because it's not finished, but here we go. Now the size of the file is down there. Now I have to say that that's a pretty big file, isn't it? That's a 4.38 gigabyte. But if you're looking for about an hour long high definition, which is what we do the match reports and battle reports and the like in, you want to do that at 1280 x 720 for HD. But you can, for more talk based shows, select and put it at a lower res or even a higher res there, although I've never done it at that. Of course, the higher the resolution, the bigger the file type, and that's one of the big issues with making video content for YouTube, is that you do need to have the space to do this. And sometimes I've been caught in situations where I've been unable to render or save anything because I've already got too many files on the computer, and I've not been able to get those files off the computer because they're not rendered or saved. So you do need to keep a very constant production line when you're doing this. It's almost like you need to get one on, you need to get through it, get it uploaded before you move on to the next. When you move on to the next, you then delete in the next one. Of course, a way around that, of course, is using a big external hard drive, which is also possible. So we're not going to do that there, but what we are going to do is then, so that once you have, so as you can see, this is still rendering even though this isn't a finished clip. The export for that will take, it really depends on the size of your video, but it could take anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. Okay, so you can already see sort of a building up of time. If you're spending, usually each report takes about as long, maybe 150% of the time that it takes to film, not to film, but the actual of the footage itself, about 150% of that to edit. So if you've got an hour-long battle report, it will usually take me somewhere in the region of, unless I'm not going through it and really creating a high standard, but if I'm going through it, it will take about an hour and a half. Now if you're just going through clipping ends, trimming ends, putting the blurs in, and not doing any of the other stuff, then it can take less time. You can kind of do it in about half an hour. Now if you include the then rendering time and the exporting time, you're then looking at an additional hour or two on top of that. And then you've got the longest thing of all, which is the reason why I'm changing the internet, which is the upload time. So already you can see that one battle report in total can very quickly add up to about a day's worth of work, or maybe just less than that, because if you add the meeting up with people, the time it takes to film it. So remember, a 2-hour battle report will usually take 4 hours to film, and it will usually end up with about an hour's worth of footage. So in total, each battle report to film, to edit, to upload is about a day's worth of work. That's not including the next part, which is once we've got the video. So if I just minimize that, we see Jane again, we go up to the internet, and we come on here and we come into the YouTube channel itself. Now when you've got a YouTube channel, so this is, let's go on my channel. This is Hot Gates Gaming, this is my YouTube channel, okay? You've got something here called Video Manager, and this is where all of your videos are stored, and you get to see how many views and the like are on there. So I released Butchers vs Alchemist Abattoir Way Days episode 4 today, so just 70 views, 7 likes. Now you can see that, 70 views, 7 likes, that's 10%. It's usually around 10% or less than 10% of likes to views. So if every single person who watched the videos liked the videos and commented, you would be doing the channel a huge amount of favour, even without being on Patreon. So what I would do to upload a video is I'll click upload here, and we go to this, and we come on and we can upload it there. So you can see that I could upload any of these. I'll usually go to movies. There are no movies on there at the moment, but we click that and we upload, and then you are, I tell you what, let's go in there. Let's imagine that let's upload something. Let's go for, where are we? Desktop we need. Opening sequence 2. Here we go. So this is what you're presented with. So you can see here that this is a very low upload time. This is taking 2 minutes. And the reason why it's taking 2 minutes, I will cancel this now. The reason why it's only taking 2 minutes is because the video itself is less than 30 seconds long, and it's a low resolution video. And what we would do is we would put in the name of the video up here. We then write a bit of a description. You can add your suggested tags to help people find it, and then you can pop it in playlists and the like. And you can either set to schedule for a certain date, make it public, or make it private. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel that because we don't actually need that. Cancel the upload. there we go. And then what I've been trying to do is, of course, try and create a bit of a schedule where we are producing a minimum of one battle report per week. So we can delete that. Let's just delete. And of course, my number one system is Hobbit Strategy Battle Gaming, so it has been but we have been managing 2 reports a week. Just about. That is a pilot series that we've been doing for Abattoir Warrior Days that hopefully the Guild Ball community will get behind. And even if a handful of them are getting behind it, 10 or so, and they want to see more and are contributing a bit on Patreon, we'll be able to do a second series, because you can see that quite a bit of work goes in behind the scenes. And hopefully that's what this has showed you today. It showed you just a little bit of a brief clip, almost like a little bit of a hobby vlog in a sense, because this is my hobby, and gives you a little bit of an idea about how you can start to put together an edited report. And there are multiple layers of this, and I think probably the combination of seeing the level of editing that you can do, or that I've managed so far, is if you go and check out the GBHL podcast and check out the episode of the Plantier that we did, or that I did, when I edited the sketch for that. Maybe sketches is something that we'll be able to do on Hotgates Gaming in the future. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that and had a really good insight there into how to make a battle report for YouTube, and the work that goes in behind it. So hopefully you can appreciate what happens behind the scenes. And like I say, if you do appreciate and want to get behind the project, you know what to do. Check out the links in the video description below. Hope you guys out there are having a good game. I'm having a great time and having a really good game, and I want to continue to be able to do this. So please do help out. Comment, like, share and subscribe, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in the next Hotgates Gaming video.